I wanted to cover off the difference between hairs and grafts. The industry standard in hair transplants is to quote on the number of grafts that we transplant. There are some players in the industry who will quote on the number of hairs that they transplant. I sometimes wonder if they do that because it tends to overinflate the number that they're transplanting and it looks like they're doing more. But before we get into that, the difference between hairs and grafts are what we take out of the scalp. That's what we extract out, and then we implant that graft back into the balding or thinning area. And within that graft, you have to have a hair follicle, or 2 hair follicles, or 3 hair follicles, or even more. So because it's the grafts that we're taking out and implanting, we feel it's appropriate to quote on the number of grafts. And that's what we do. But just so that you're informed, because look, we always encourage patients to go and get a second opinion from other hair transplant doctors. But just so that you can compare apples with apples, you roughly double the number of grafts in order to get the number of hairs, roughly speaking. It's not a precise calculation, but that will allow you to be able to compare apples with apples. Look, the nature of hair transplants is that we have to quote on the number of grafts because we have to have a kind of a defined, understandable way of quoting on these procedures. And so that's the way that we've come up with. But just so that you know that you're comparing the same number of grafts and the same number of hairs, that's how you calculate the difference between those numbers.